cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in too. It's time again to cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in too. It's the number one podcast. The topics of discussion when we broadcast. So all them artificial man jokes, we do it natural from the concrete to a public standpoint. Real, wherever you from, life is coexistence, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. Wherever you from, life is coexistence, but to know the real, you just gotta listen.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 52 Scott Podcast. I'm your host, K Money, and in the building with me, my co-host, Freddie G, Slash, and Comedian 96. Collectively, we are the Mind of Men. And you can find us on Twitter at 52 Scott Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast. And if you're on YouTube, please don't forget to like and or subscribe. Welcome to another True Tuesday episode. Jump right in. Last week I was listening to another podcast, The Breakfast Club. And they had Boosie and Tootie Raw in the building. You know, they were in New York. I can't remember what they were promoting. Mm-hmm. But they were just talking to Boosie, chopping it up. I think he just dropped an album, if I'm not mistaken. So he was promoting his album, his new album. Mm-hmm. But one of the, I can't remember who it was, if it was Charlamagne or DJ Envy, but one of them was, they were also asking Tootie Raw some questions. And they had mentioned how, Tootie Raw was recently locked up, and the guy that they had mentioned that CW, I'm not going to say the guy's name, I'm just going to reference him as CW, was the reason that he got locked up. Mm-hmm. So they asked Boosie, how did he feel about that? And Boosie immediately, was like, hey, I don't want no smoke with CW. You know, he basically validated, how this guy does some snitching, which draws, attention to people, and this was the reason that Tootie Raw allegedly had gotten locked up. Right. And I just wanted to talk about snitching as a whole. There's a code in the streets about snitching. Mm-hmm. And we all are over 50 or over, and growing up as a youngster, we were told one thing, mm-hmm. but now it's almost like what we were told as a child is happening more frequently than it should be in regards to where snitching is concerned. Mm-hmm. Now, I've never been locked up, but from what I'm understanding is that nowadays, guys are snitching left and right just to get, shorter sentences, and it's benefiting them to snitch. Whereas, the code of the street is you snitch, right? Yeah, and you get stitches. Yeah. So that's how it's always been. How you guys feel about snitching in 2023?
Man, right now it's a lot of people doing it, and I want to mention this because they have a application that you can fill out. No. To be a snitch. They will pay you $5,000 a month. I haven't seen this form myself, but I've heard of it.
Really?
Ooh. And man, I'll tell you what my mentality tells me at that point. It's a lot of guys out there that's going to take that and fill that application out. Yeah. Because I'm going to tell you why. Number one, mm-hmm. they want to be in the street.
Right.
They don't want to leave street. Number two, they want to have the money to go with the street. So they looking at, if I got $5,000 a month to hang around these dudes,
right,
and I might possibly get some money with them too,
and or get rid of my competition.
That's the mind frame of them.
Yeah.
But where they get caught up at is when it turns raw.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You snitched and you around these people, then they know you snitched now.
Yeah.
Now you're in trouble.
The form that you're speaking on, Slash, is it anonymous?
I don't. Yeah, they won't know your name. It's anonymous to where you're not giving your name, or it's not a public file that you can go and see that somebody filled this application out to be this type of officer, because that's what you are.
What I've watched many. I know it's make believe and they're cop shows, but sometimes I think some of the make believes could could be true stories.
Right.
So I've seen, there was a show called The Closer, where she just straight up left her snitch with the people he snitched on.
Now, is this a reality show or?
No, it's a like a Law and Order type show.
Okay.
So Law and Order, you have The Closer. The Closer doesn't come on no more. There's another show that took Rizzoli and Isles. I think they took their spot after that, something like that. But all these shows that I watch, because I love watching cop drama shows, every last one of them, I'll be even dating back to an old school show called NYPD Blue. As I'm thinking about it, the cops always leave the snitches out to dry, even on Power. They leave the snitch, if you're a cop snitch or a snitch.
Right.
They leave them out to dry. So in the end, it never works out for the snitch. So why snitch?
Right.
So let me ask you guys this. Neither one of you have never snitched in school?
I will be a man about it and said when I was 12. Had I said I was 13, I would be a straight punk. But I was 12 when and it was, this is what I call an accidental switch. A snitch.
Oh.
Snitch. It's an
That's
accidental.
what you got after snitching, huh?
Because see, I was 12. I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
And it's an unbelievable, I'm going to call it an unbelievable, not knowing I accidentally snitched, right? So this is what happened. It was right after school. School's out, we're leaving out. Everybody's parked on the side of the street, probably say about 60, 70, 80 yards away, but across the street from the school, waiting for the kids to come to the car.
All right.
So this lady, she's sitting in her truck. And from where we were, it was unbelievable that a rock could even get that far, right? Because we're 12, we're kids. We're coming out, this guy picks up the little roofing shingles, the little shingles, they throw, if you're a kid, if you know about the roofing shingles, they put a little glide and a little hook on it, right? So he picks up this shingle, and you remember this has happened actually at our old middle school, James D. Ryan. This doesn't exist anymore. It's a middle school here in Houston. But that big football field?
Yeah.
He threw it in that field. But it made a hard right. And it went, it could never be repeated, I promise you. When it made that hard right, it hooked and it floated, and the lady had her window down. I'll never forget the lady. She had some shades on. She had her hand under her chin, waiting on her children, and that thing hit her directly in the eye. She got that. Who did it? Who did it? I was so scared. I just started pointing. I didn't mean to. I swear I didn't mean to point. But I was scared because, first of all, how did that rock get way over there? Ma'am, that was really meant for you. Because there's no way a 12-year-old should be able to throw that so far. Her coming out of that car with that red eye with one glass open and one glass closed because it had got bust out.
Yeah.
And her eye red and bleeding. I was already nerved up. I would have never switched. Now, I've been in far worse situations than that after that.
Right.
But that is the only time and the only time ever that I would ever snitch. I've seen far worse and I won't snitch.
You guys ever think it's ever okay to snitch?
No, I don't think so.
Never.
Not judging by the code of the street. If you live by it, you live by it. You know what I mean? I don't think it's right to snitch. Now, depending on what we talk about,
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
snitching. It depends on the situation. If I saw somebody kill somebody that I knew, and if I go and say who did it, is that snitching? No, because they killed the person that I knew.
Yeah, it's still snitching.
That's snitching.
That's snitching. I wouldn't.
So you wouldn't this person that you knew you really cared about.
So basically, if it affects you personally,
If it affects
would
me
determine
personally,
whether or not you
it's
would.
going to determine the difference in how it affects my life at the end of the day.
And Comedian 96,
But-
you go let the streets handle it, is what you saying?
Yeah, I mean, because first of all, I'm a personal believer. God sees everything. So whatever you got coming, there's nothing here on this earth. Whatever God got planned for you, it's coming.
So it's nothing worth snitching.
What's the Mr. Me going to snitch and telling you for
That
what?
that was kind of Boosie's outlook on it. He was pretty much saying,
You said that?
let God deal with it.
Exactly.
You know,
I mean, honestly, I I will say this. However, I will say this though. I'll take that back. I will. The only way I would tell on somebody, if I'm in the car, if I'm driving, and my friend say, "Hey man, can you come pick me up and take me to work?" And I'm like, "Yeah, all right, cool." And he got a work satchel or something. I don't know. And it's got 20 bricks of cocaine in it. I know that 10 bricks, so something believable. Let's say 10 bricks of cocaine.
All right.
We going to jail. We going to jail, right? I don't know nothing about these bricks. Nothing, right? I pull over, and I'm gonna be nice to a cop. I'm always gonna be nice to a cop when I get pulled over every time. But put it in someone else's shoes that's not nice to a cop, and they just act just buttholes to cops. Period. And then they find 10 bricks that he knew nothing about. Probably that would, and he doesn't say, "Hey man, these my 10 bricks. He ain't got nothing to do with it." Cause 10 bricks gonna give me 100 years. I know it is. So that case, bruh, you need to take that charge. You need to eat that charge. I ain't know you even had them. Now, flip it. Say I knew I had them. Mm-hmm. I'm not snitching. I knew he had them. I'm not snitching. Cause I knew. I'm not snitching. But if I didn't know and you brought work into my car, you got to go, bro. You got to tell on yourself. If you don't, I'm gonna give you the opportunity to tell on yourself first. Cause I didn't know. Then that's probably the only way. But if I see somebody get killed, ain't got nothing to do with me. They got killed, ain't got nothing to do with me. It's something that they did. It's between them.
Yeah, but if it's gonna affect your life, in the wrong way, you're gonna get it out for you.
No. Listen, it's a killing. Look, I didn't see no evil. I didn't see nothing.
Even if it was a family member, you could sit there and let that go like that and ride.
Not my.
Somebody that you care about, you see this happen to them, you're not gonna say, "Okay, I know the person that did this to them."
Okay,
now, I understand the average Joe Blow on the street, you don't give a fuck about.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is how it normally happens.
Again, it depends on the situation. If it's, I think Scarface had the best line in the world to me. Scarface, shout out to you. He had a song. He says, "The definition of a killer is a killer for scratch. You kill a motherfucker, you kill him for that." Honestly, depending on how much money it is, I've seen somebody get killed over $5. Depending on how much money it is. Not over $5. Definitely not over $5. But I can understand it if y'all remember the movie. What was the name of that? Not Boys in the Hood, but the other one. Menace to Society. When he was at the table, man, F your icky money. Now, you done went past. When you say F you and your money, and I ain't giving you nothing. What you gonna do now, Negro? Now you done passed the line and just owning me. You done went to disrespect. So whatever you got coming, you got coming. I will say that, right? But I wouldn't snitch. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Let me say something to all of that, man. So here's how I know, as a community, the black community, how we have a warped way of thinking. Mm-hmm. First of all, in the black community, because I can't speak for no other community.
Right.
Everybody have a different definition of what a snitch is. And what's your definition of snitch? And everybody's definition is different, right? But I'm going to say something that I've heard over and over and over. And you guys probably have heard it too. There's no honor amongst thieves. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right.
And I've also heard, and I'm sure you guys heard over and over and over, rule number 1 is self-preservation.
Mm-hmm. All the time.
So, with that being said, if you're going out to commit a crime, the person you're committing that crime with, that person is not loyal to you. I don't care who that is, because there's no honor amongst thieves. Mm-hmm. Now, if y'all get jammed up, depending on how harsh the punishment is, Rule number 1 is self-preservation. They're going to preserve themselves.
Yep, revert back to rule number 1.
Now, let me give you a true story. I know someone personally who participated in a crime. And when participating in that crime, someone was murdered. Now, the person that participated in that crime had no idea about the murder. But when the criminal, some of the criminals was rounded up, they came through and swooped up everybody, right?
Right.
Now keep in mind, there's an individual that didn't know nothing about the murder, right? But they all swooped up together. Now, what do you think happened when they got them all together? Number 1, there was no honor amongst thieves. Number 2, self-preservation happened. And here's the thing. From my understanding, the perpetrator or the person who actually did the killing refused to take his body. Meaning that all he had to do was take his body and that could create leniency for the other people that was involved.
Right.
But he refused to take his body. Right? Now, there's another, the individual that I know personally kept his mouth shut. Kept his mouth shut. He didn't know, but he just kept his mouth shut. Right? Now, should that person have kept his mouth shut when that person is actually being charged with the same exact charge as the person who did the actual killing? And the person who did the actual killing wasn't G enough to say, hey, I did that. These people didn't do that. So, we as a community, we're okay with snitching if it benefits us or if it's to somebody that we care about.
Correct.
But if, I'm going to put it to you this way so I don't take up the whole mic, right? Comedian 96.
Okay.
If I saw somebody breaking your car, you my partner, man. Hey, man, dude down the street broke in your car, dog. I'm going to snitch on dude.
That's
No, let me finish.
Okay.
You my partner. You somebody I care about. If somebody did something to my child or did something to a family member or did something, I would want somebody to say, you know what, Freddie G, I know who did this to your child. I know who did this to your wife. I know who did this. Hey, man, who did it? I would want them to tell me who did it. So we as a community, we're warped. Now, I'm not saying that, okay, this is the rule to go out and snitch and do whatever the case may be, but we were brought up to where snitching wasn't cool. I don't know about y'all, but let me tell you something I used to do when I was a little kid, right? We all be playing, and some man right there, so-and-so over there doing such. And my uncles used to say, boy, stop coming up in here with all that pimping.
Yeah.
They used to call it pimping.
Yeah.
Stop coming up here with all that pimping.
Yeah.
Tell him. I had to be about 6, 7.
Yeah.
Boy, stop coming up in here with all that.
I'm glad you said because you've been 8.
Stop coming. Stop coming up in here with all that pimping. So my point in saying all of that, man, we don't know. We're so warped and we don't know what's the definition of snitching to where we're all over the place with it. Mm-hmm. And I did hear the Boosie interview on the Breakfast Club. And he said he don't want any smoke with CW.
Right.
You know, at the end of the day, I watched the CW dude, right?
Uh-huh.
Dude on to something.
I'll tell you one thing. As of May 9th, 2023, the average annual pay for a confidential informant in the United States is $92,163 a year.
Bro, that's a career.
You feel what I'm saying? This is as of this just last month. This is what they make, $92,163 a year. Just a snitch. That's the meaning of snitch.
And the crazy part is you probably inspired somebody listening.
92,000. Damn.
It might have inspired my damn.
That's the damn self. Look, I'm like, wait.
Wrong career.
Should I start telling on some
Man, they out there,
that
look,
price?
They,
God damn.
they not
it
watering
ain't-
their lawn. They don't get their lawn
Now-
cut or.
It's not amazing, but I mean, if you're a regular person that go to work, you don't make that much a year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm guessing it's got to be some kind of. It's a lot involved with this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
You know, it's dangerous. Number one,
Dangerous. Oh, yeah.
it's got to be dangerous.
Because you might not see the 92.
They might need you at the time you don't want to be out.
Yeah.
4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly, yeah.
You know,
Well, yeah, you do have
you
to
on
factor
call.
those.
You better
Oh.
believe you on call. You know, so
You have to factor those in. Freddie G, quick question on something you mentioned. You say we all have different meanings of snitch or snitching
Yeah, different definitions.
definitions. Do you think the definitions are similar to where they're the same, or is it just interpreted different? Because
So, I do understand your
if you
question.
could elaborate a little
Yeah,
more.
yeah,
on
I
that.
do understand your question, but I'm going to add one thing to it. So, at the end of the day, you're a tattletale.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling.
That's a phrase I've heard. I've
Yeah.
never heard the pimping, but
Yeah,
the
yeah,
tattletale.
yeah,
Tattletale.
yeah. You're a tattletale,
definitely
right?
one.
Here's the thing, though. If you're in cahoots and committing a crime,
That's, yeah.
and the rule of thumb is, okay, don't say nothing, right? Versus if you witness a elderly lady get mugged, you saw who did it, and you see that this person took this elderly lady's purse. This lady can't pay her bill. She just cashed her check and all of that.
Why
and
you gotta bring
and she's 90 years old.
He bring
So-
up all
so
the stories
now-
that make you snitch. You know what I'm saying?
So now you got a moral and ethical duty. Do you, when the police come ask you, hey, did you see which way the perpetrator ran? Do you know what color he had on? Do you know this? And then you got a moral or an ethical duty to either say, yes, I did see him mug this old lady. Can you pick him out of the lineup? Yes, sir, I can. To get this old lady some justice. You know, at the end of the day, you still tattletelling.
So does it make a difference if that old lady was 30 or 40 years younger and was still mugged? You still have that same.
It doesn't change.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me show you some character, right?
She lived when she got mugged.
Does it matter?
So
People get mugged every day. Hell, I got mugged. Nobody cared.
Did you wish somebody snitched?
Huh?
Did anybody see? And
Did nobody help nothing? You okay? Bitch, no, I lost everything.
So I said this in the previous show, right? Your character, man. Your character is a part of your personality, right? It represents ethical, moral, social attitudes and beliefs, right?
Yeah.
So, with that being said, if you're a person that believe in social justice, if you're a person that believe in social justice,
Yeah.
then if you see something that's unjust, you're gonna speak up on it. Chances are you're gonna speak up on it.
That's true.
Appreciate you elaborating on that, man. Well, this concludes another show. I do understand why Boosie didn't want any smoke with CW. nowadays, he's pretty much making a decent living off of snitching in today's world. But if anything happened to me, around me, I would say snitch and let it be known. But so, I mean, use your own discretion. Appreciate y'all joining us. Have a good one. This concludes another True Tuesday episode, and be sure you tune in tomorrow for Women Wednesday with Freddie G. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at 52 Scott Podcast, on Instagram and Facebook, The 52 Scott Podcast. And for all you YouTubers, don't forget to like and subscribe. And to all my 52 Scott faithfuls, it may be new to you, but if you heard it here, then you know it's true.